Well, for more on the plight and challenges being faced by the youth, we're now joined in studio by Mzi Mngoma, who's the Managing Director of Mngoma Empowerment Group. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
All right, thank you so much, Peter. Thank you as well for inviting me indeed.
So one of the things that keeps coming up as a theme in some of the packages that we've been showing is hope. And it doesn't seem as if our young people have a lot of hope. Is this something that you are encountering when these young people come to you?
Oh, yes, indeed. I mean, they come to our offices, with all the issues of mental issues, socioeconomic issues as well, because quite a lot of them are discouraged, Peter. I mean, you get a qualification and suddenly there's no employment for you. Now, in that regard, then they come to our offices and say, Mzi, give us hope. You are a stress coach. In that regard, what can you say to us? Give us something more, you're right, and over and above the fact that you're motivating us, but give us something tangible to say, what did I do wrong? What did I get myself into this situation where I get so discouraged to a point of, really losing myself, losing my mind?
How is it possible to try and get hope when you are the most unemployed? Chances are you're not going to get into university. If you're lucky, you might get into an FET college. Yeah. But even at the end of those processes, you don't find employment. And that's not even bringing into account those that don't even finish high school. Yeah. And they come out of the system much younger. And all they do every day is try. And at some point, you've got to give up, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it does, definitely, because when you don't have a support system, even though you may be a graduate, but you're not getting employment, and when you come from a home where there's no support system, it becomes very difficult and very complicated for you to be able to navigate around these. And you need hope, you need to rework yourself, you need to readjust, your priorities as well, because in that regard, then you'll be able to say, yes, I've got a degree. Instead of me wanting, someone else to give me employment, then why can't I create employment? What did I go to 3 years, 4 years of schooling? Because I believe that once you have gone through that process, obviously, there are some skills, there's knowledge that you can be able to do. And it's one of the areas, Peter, I must say, that a lot of young people don't want to get their hands dirty as far as even venturing into spaces where they need to be using their hands. I'm talking your agriculture, I'm talking your even mechanical. Some of the degrees, they may not be valid and relevant anymore, especially in the era that we are living at. So there is why a whole lot of young people then, they are finding themselves in that space where indeed they are finding themselves with wrong qualifications, which does not have any value whatsoever into the economy. For that reason, we encouraging them and say, get your hands dirty. What's wrong in being a mechanic? What's wrong in becoming, getting your hands dirty in that regard? So there will be nothing wrong. FET colleges, they are there for that reason, because you get practical experience. That is why you've got learnerships, where you'll be getting your qualification and at the same time you get practical, work experience as well.
There are young people watching now and they're saying, Peter, Mzi are talking a good talk, but the reality is when I wake up tomorrow morning, what must I do? Where must I go? Where do I even begin?
Yeah, the starting point then will be, what is it that you have? Consider the resources at your disposal. What do you have as a young person? Surely you've got something that you can give out there. This can come in the form of certificate that you have acquired. Look, not long ago we were celebrating you, throwing this big party for you, but now the reality is you've got knowledge. I mean, you went to school for those years. You've got something that you can contribute. So you need then to look within your arsenal, your education, and say, with what I have learned for the past 3 years, 4 years, what can I do with those? All right. And then now that I've been applying for all this time, now what is the best way now? Can't I start employment? And guess what? There are a lot of opportunities where you can venture into entrepreneurship. There are a lot of government agencies which are geared towards supporting young people to be able to start their own businesses. And the agriculture is one. Food security is a challenge, throughout the world. So why can't I just open up my little shop there?
See, how do I start with nothing? I have no money. I can't even get into a taxi tomorrow to go to the local empowerment agency, what do I do tomorrow morning when I wake up?
Yeah, when you wake up tomorrow morning, it's very simple. You're looking into your resources and you say, this is the skill that I have, and this is something that can make me to live. But more than anything else, it's for you to research around, to look for those opportunities which are readily available for us.
We know for a fact that the students that enter grade 1, half of them are not going to finish school.
It's true.
So we've got hundreds of thousands each year that are leaving school without a qualification. What does that person do? Because as you say, you do a skills audit, those ones that at least have got matric and so on and so forth can say, all right, maybe I've got something. But what about those 700,000, let's say, who literally fell out of the system?
Yeah, the unfortunate part of not completing your studies is exactly that. You know, to say without a paper to show, then your chances, you are limiting yourself in terms of the avenues that you can be able to venture into so that you can make your life better. That is why every time in our spaces, in our seminars and conferences, when we talk to the youth and say, go to school, because when you go to school, you've got skills. But now if you did not go and finish your schooling, then what happens? The chances are very limited for you to do anything, except then when you are good enough, you look within yourself and say, even though I don't have a grade 12, even if I don't have a degree, yet I've got a skill that I can be able to utilize for me to be. I know of very successful young people who are welders, who are plumbers. I'm talking your artisan skills. So those are some of the things that young people then need to consider, to say this is not for the uneducated, but these are skills that you need also for your survival, for you to be able to make an impact into your life, into the life of your family. Never ever neglect the skills, even the artisan skills that you may have had. It's not for the uneducated, but it's for everyone who definitely want to make something for themselves.
How do we deal with the mental health side of things? Because, you know, my heart breaks when I see the number of young people considering suicide. Considering ending their lives because they've just given up on so many things and there just doesn't seem to be any hope. How do we deal with that aspect even before we start to get out of bed to try and do the things you've suggested? Young
people need hope. Young people need to say, in the midst of all what is happening, because there are a lot of negativity that they share, because you listen to the news, it's negativity, unemployment. You're listening to your friends, you go to social media as well, you see a lot of opulence, and you look around, you say, I don't have access to these kind of resources. But now the biggest part then, what it does, it affects your mentality. We need to go back to the basics, and the basics are locating institutions such as ourselves at Stress Coach, where we are empowering young people. Education is very key, because what it does, it's able to change the way you think, it's able to change how you feel, it's able to change the way you respond to situations. So a moment should be for such young people to come and say, I've got a challenge, I've got a mental problem, you know, I feel like killing myself, I feel like committing suicide, and for that reason there is hope out there, but how do I go and venture into that hope? Then the onus is on you to say, what do I do with my current situation? But the first point of call then is to admit, raise up your hand and say, I need help. Cry out, communicate that you've got challenges. Don't keep quiet. That's exactly what we are saying at Stress Coach. Don't keep quiet with a challenge. Raise it up. There are people, help is available. Many of us, where you are, Peter, where I am, definitely we have had a lot of challenges, even as we are growing up. In that regard, then we were able to seek for help, go into adults, go into people that you can trust, and talk about the situation. Don't keep quiet, all right? Say something.
Yeah. So, do you think the system is designed to work against young people? Because if I'm a young person and I look at the unemployment statistics, the majority of the unemployed are young people.
Yeah.
So is this maybe something that our politicians, our governments should be looking at to find ways to equalize the odds? Because it looks as if If you're young, you've got a greater chance of not getting ahead than if you're older.
I must commend efforts by authorities, by the government. They are there, in all honesty, Peter, they are there. But it's for a young person then to look, to open up their eyes, to be curious, because you can't just be sitting in your corner listening to all the negativity from your friends and your surrounding, but you just have to say, as an individual, what are some of the things that I can be able to do? And chances are, if you search and you search enough, you will find the answers you are looking for. In this particular case, where are the opportunities? You just need a young person that has an open mind. In my case, at the time when I had a qualification and I did not find employment, guess what I did? I went and volunteered or at my services to an institution, and that institution then was able to give me the skills that I needed, the experience that I need, because the workplace is definitely not the best place for uneducated and unexperienced. So it's just for you to look within yourself and say, I am hungry enough. I think a whole lot of our young people, they're not hungry enough to such an extent that they can be able to do something about themselves. Hence, they need a positive mindset that says, I have a qualification or I don't, but I've got something with my hands that I can be able to do something about it. But information is out there. Let young people go and find information. It is readily available. To better themselves.
Mzi, thank you so much for coming through. I hope that that's given some young viewers some hope, because it is a difficult time, but there is always hope.
Indeed. Surely there is hope, and thank you so much for this opportunity. There is hope. Thank you so much.
All right, that's Mzi Mngoma, Managing Director of Mngoma Empowerment Group, speaking to us around Youth Month about the challenges our young people are facing, and they may seem insurmountable, but there is help out there and there is hope, so don't give up. You're watching The Globe.